You get brought the idea of doing a remake, a redo,
Retelling.
a retelling of Carrie. Were you kind of wary of doing something that's kind of already widely considered a horror classic?
A classic? No, well, I mean, honestly, I didn't even think about it that way. I thought of it as, how am I going to take on a Stephen King novel? How am I going to be able to retell a Stephen King novel? Because we were not retelling a De Palma film. De Palma decided to retell a Stephen King novel, and Kim Pierce was so excited and enthralled by the Stephen King novel that we decided to retell it. So, you know, I think our you know, for our movie, our biggest source material and only source material was the book, because that is the true story of Carrie, not, you know, one director's take on a movie.
When you're approaching this, do you go to the book? Do you look at the previous film just to see kind of what works, what didn't, maybe what you want to stay away from to do your own? Like, how do you approach something that's been done before to make sure that you have your own take on it?
Well, I mean, I really use the book. I mean, I had the book on me at all times. I probably read the book 4 or 5 times, and I really wanted to retell Stephen's Carrie. I really wanted to show his writing on the page in real life on a screen, and I wanted him to be able to watch it and go, that's the Carrie that I wrote, at least close, you know, to what his idea of Carrie was. That's what I really was kind of wanting to grasp. And I didn't watch the original film since I was 11. Before I had anything to do with this movie, because I didn't want to even subconsciously steal anything from their movie, because it was a brilliant movie. It was I mean, amazingly, it's a classic. It's a horror classic, you know? So I didn't want to take the obvious, I mean, you know, there are some things in the movie that are incredibly obvious. And I think if we stole any of it, it would have been very apparent. So we tended to shy away.
I mean, did you talk to Stephen at all and pick his brain at all as far as anything, or did you just stay to what was on the page and then what you had gotten on the script?
I never got the chance to talk to him, which is so frustrating for me. But, you know, I think that I really needed to listen to my director, and I really needed to take her input, because at the end of the day, she's the one making the movie, and she's the one that knows all the characters in the movie. I'm an actor who does one character, and the director's job is to really show the outlook of all characters and go, well, this is how one influences the other, and this is how this one, you know, influences that one. And I think that is, you know, the importance of a director, and she, you know, Kim really helped me through this movie.
The prom scene is, I think, a lot more brutal and vengeful than I had been expecting. I think people who are familiar with it would be expecting. Is there kind of a bit of joy in Carrie's kind of dishing out a little bit of punishment and judgment and revenge on these people who had done wrong to her, as opposed to kind of snapping? I mean, there is that moment of snapping, but it seems like there's a little bit of delight in paying back.
My idea was that she is completely taken over by this disease, this, you know, the same thing as alcohol or a drug. Telekinesis is something that preys on your darkest, most inner thoughts. I mean, whatever your darkest or even happiest emotions are, your strongest emotion you're feeling at the time, telekinesis comes in and multiplies that by 1,000. And at that moment, she feels humiliation, and then it turns from humiliation to anger when she sees the video that's put up on the wall. And then when Tommy's on the ground, it's just, it's complete hatred for other people. And I think the fact that Carrie would have walked away. Carrie would have walked away had not the bucket fallen, had not the video started to play. She would have run away and she would have gone home to her mom. When she allowed her emotions to get to her, the telekinesis, she was able to, well, she was unable to then control the telekinesis, and therefore it took over her. And the telekinesis, you know, manipulates anyone. So I think the things that she was feeling were not true Carrie thoughts. That's why after Chris Hargensen's dead, you see that moment in her eyes when she comes back to being Carrie, and that moment in the bathtub when she's cleansing herself. You see the real Carrie and what she knows what she did was wrong, but she knows it wasn't her.